Let's start this off right.
What is that?
I just need a burp real quick before we start Poor Thing. So, real quick, I'm just gonna burp. Ready? What'd you think of that bit, Eric?
What did I get myself into?
Welcome to another episode of SOS VHS, and yeah, we have this type of producers.
Yeah. Between the producer and Count Dracula.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my goodness.
And
Now what?
we were talking about pregnant people, and I think like the movie starts with a pregnant lady who doesn't have a normal pregnancy, and they take the brain of the baby and put it in the mind of the in the space of the mom's, or they switch the brains with the mom, and that's your favorite movie.
Well, yeah, that's the movie's been in my mind now since I saw it. Actually saw it with my wife too. She wanted to go see it, and I was like, "What is this?" You know, and yeah, Poor Things was like. First of all, I think that Poor Things has some sort of artsy fartsy like meaning, right? I'm sure that like if there was like a focus group of feminists and movie critics, they would be like, oh, this movie represents the, you know, A, B, C, D. I don't know what that is.
I was thinking that too.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is. I know that it's there, but it's not readily to me. And I feel like some artsy person would be like, you don't know what this movie's about? You know what I mean? All I know is the woman got smashed.
Oh yeah.
Like, it was pornographic. And the thing that was really crazy about it is it wasn't like it was Ryan Gosling doing it. It was like Bobby Lee. You know what I'm saying?
One of the guys looks like me.
Like everybody.
Crazy hair.
You know what's crazy is I know Rami Youssef. He's been on my
nice
podcast. I just know him from doing
But he's the only one who doesn't do it.
That's what I said to him. I said, dude, so everybody gets to get in with her except you? And he was like, I know.
Oh, and Gerard too. It's only the comics didn't get to sleep with her.
Yeah, it was
what the hell?
It was all the weird guys.
Yeah.
So that's what it got to you was seeing Emma Stone.
Yeah, because okay, now that's another thing.
Furious jumping.
Yeah, Furious Jumping.
Furious jumping. Yeah, she called it. Now here's the thing too, though. So like as we can like sit here and you know if we're gonna analyze it. First of all, spoiler alert, right? Or it doesn't matter.
No.
Okay, so yeah. So first of all, the first thing is there's a baby's brain in this woman's body. So therefore, what we're supposed to be seeing is a progression of her, you know, going through this like growing process, and it kind of goes quick in this 2 hours because she goes from like, well, she's a baby acting crazy. We kind of see, okay, and we got, you know, and then she's all of a sudden like in her, I would assume in her teen years where she's realizing, ooh, this feels good. And then it goes from there because she literally goes from a baby to like this woman who understands things and is making choices as a prostitute, right? But it's like, is this about like, you know, Hollywood taking advantage of young women? Is it, you know what I'm trying to say? Is it like some kind of thing like that going on? Because I don't think Emma Stone's ever done nudity like this.
Not this much, I don't think.
No.
I don't think this much. I don't think ever. I don't ever recall Emma Stone being naked in a movie, full frontal, like just is, you know, doing pornographic, like, because it was like, I was like, damn, she getting fucked.
I know. I kept thinking about her husband. I was like, oh, good for you.
I think that's a very American thing. I did read a lot of reviews that were just preparing for this that highlighted all the nudity.
So in Europe,
the U.S.
they wouldn't do this.
In Europe,
are you kidding me? In Europe, dude, a fucking Dove soap commercial comes on and the woman's naked, like, hi, do your titties need to be cleaned? You know, and people are just at home. People are just at home like, okay, whatever. You know, they don't even care.
I've never been.
Yeah. So it's we do have a sort of Puritan attitude towards nudity in this country. But that being said, though, still, though, it's like, I'm not a gratuitous nudity person.
Right. And you felt like it was a little.
Yeah, I thought it was gratuitous. But again, I feel like it was gratuitous for a reason. And I just don't know what it is.
Isn't that the opposite of gratuitous? If it's for a reason?
No. But it could still. But if you don't know the reason, all you see is nudity.
But it is about a kind of like a woman sexually awakening, right? Like, because it's not only the sex part; it's also like food and other experiences that she just,
giving to the poor.
It was a lot of sex.
I mean, that's a big part of it.
Yeah, food. Yeah, when she put the apple in her pussy. Yeah, okay. That's when the food was involved. Okay. But like, I'm just saying, I think that it was like, you had this sort of Dr. Frankenstein guy. Who, see, that's again, like, I'm just trying to understand. Like, so you have what's his name?
God.
Willem Dafoe.
William Dafoe had just. Okay.
What? Come on. Look at me.
So William Dafoe is Dr. Frankenstein.
And
he creates this, this thing, is it for science? And he's got like half chicken, half dogs walking around.
Right.
So, they're trying to establish that he does this kind of thing. And, and he makes this girl. And then the other guy kind of brings it up later where he's like, oh, you did this because you wanted to have sex with her, right? And then he basically says, yeah, but my paternal instincts kicked in. And then, sort of like she became my daughter at that point.
Yeah.
You know
Also,
I mean?
he's a eunuch, so he cannot have sex. So
Yeah, he's got his own issue. Because of how he was like brought up and all that kind of stuff, Again, the movie also was very weird.
Yeah, it has that artsy element to it.
Yeah. It very much was like, it very much could have been like, at the end of the movie, Emma Stone could have woken up like this.
Totally, yeah.
Like if she was dreaming the whole time. You know what I mean? So I thought that was weird. But again, like, you're trying to figure out like, what is the story being told? What is the message? And I do believe there is a message there someplace. It's just like, I don't know, maybe it wasn't a message for us, like for a men or something, or I don't know. Or it was like the reason why you don't know, you say you're a man and that's why, so I don't know. And then she won the Golden Globe,
Yeah.
And it's weird too, because if you should ask women. Like, if you ask a woman, like, have you seen this movie and see what you think about it? The first thing they say is like, there was a lot of sex in that movie.
I know girls who were like obsessed with it. They're like, I saw it 3 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think it has like a feminist angle to it.
It does.
I really believe that.
I totally agree, but what is it?
But it is.
What is it?
Society ruins sex.
Right. Well, it is a woman brought up in this Victorian, although it is a futuristic Victorian era, right? Like with this, like polite society.
Was it futuristic? I don't know.
Well, because you have this, or a fantasy version of what a Lisbon would be with like cable cars like running through the sky.
So there's no cable cars in Lisbon going everywhere.
Not like that.
Okay.
Not in the sky.
It very much was an alternate universe.
You're right. It
Earth
was like
2.0.
everything's a set. It looked like a
Yeah, it was like a play or something.
It was cool, yeah.
Right. So so she has this she's in this Victorian-esque society, very Puritan, and she's just breaking free from all of those conventions.
Yeah.
When also, men are whiners, right? Like you have this.
Yeah, it shows them like getting like frustrated, like Mark Ruffalo frustrated.
Mark Ruffalo was so funny.
He's so funny.
Like he was so funny. You know what I mean? Like he's this sort of like, but again, like what did he represent? So if we think about his character and what happened to him throughout the movie. So, he sees this girl and he's not even really interested in her so much as he's interested
like a Casanova type, right?
No, as he's interested in putting a monkey wrench in everybody's plans.
Is he like a fuckboy?
Yeah, he was like, So he was like basically like, oh, he saw that she was like weird. He saw that she was like, oh, you're taking advantage of this girl. Well, I'm gonna do that.
Oh,
I'm gonna,
funny.
you know what I mean? He really was like that. He saw that, oh, you're marrying, because he was the lawyer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he the lawyer? And he saw this, he was like, what? What are you doing? You're making this girl. He was like, oh, I'm taking this girl.
Right.
So he takes her.
Yeah.
And then he also falls in love with her.
Right, because he can tame her. Like he's like, oh, if it's not too late, don't fall in love with me, and he has all those lines, right? And then at the end, he's the one.
Oh, he's just obsessed.
He cannot tame her.
Yeah.
Therefore, like, he's the only person he doesn't have power over. So he becomes this.
Isn't
kind
that
of
the
whiny
feminist
character.
argument though, that like women like they're not to be tamed by polite society, or men like Mark Ruffalo like a sort of peeing on them in a sort of way, like
Right.
mine. And I think like
And they talk about a property. You are my property. You're
but over
mine,
10 years, or ever since
Yeah.
Girls came out, like 15 years ago, whatever, that's been like the skew of Hollywood. And so when I saw this, I was like, this matches completely with where we're at in Hollywood. Even with like Rami Malek, like being like the cool guy at the end, I was like, oh, of course he got cast as like the cool guy that's in with all the girls at the end. I would have been a chicken with like a dog head. Like,
I actually thought at the end, the husband, I thought that they were gonna like put the father's brain in his body.
That's cool. Yeah.
That's what I thought was gonna happen.
Oh, damn.
Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I thought they were gonna do. Then he survives in a new body.
I love that she's into medicine too. Like
Yeah, she wants to become a doctor.
It's so
and
She
I-
was
to me.
right,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
also
all
like
that.
and,
I think
and
it's so cool.
all the conventions, breaking all the conventions, right? Like,
Yeah,
there's no
like-
women doing that. It's like
Exactly.
women just stay home.
Mhm.
I know, but it's like, but even still, like when she, okay, so, you know, then this young doctor who moves in and he's like, you know, it's like, why did he fall for her? You know, like he knew what was up.
Yeah, I think like because she's very attractive. I think that's the
Yeah, that's they're all like, she's hot.
So then again, that's part of the message that we're not fully aware of. Like, here's this, again, I think it's about like, you know, how young women are sexualized. So here's this thing. So like there's that one scene where, you know, they're with her and they have to knock her out and her tit is out.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that was the first time in the movie that I was like, oh, Emma Stone's gonna be showing some nudity. I didn't. That was and it was very subtle. You know, he was like, ooh, let me cover this titty up. You know what I mean? But there was like a moment where the guy was like, ooh, a titty, and then he went like that. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh. Was that Emma Stone's titty? Is she gonna do this? And then the moment you saw that titty, it was like she's putting apples in her.
Yeah, it's like
and
Ferrari.
she's like, yeah,
Off to the races.
Yeah, it was off to the races at that point, and she was like, oh, okay. So then, you know, she meets this guy. But then it's like, even the first time they were having sex, you were like, oh, this is like they're really going for it in this movie. So again, at that point, what's the message? Because she's still
Sexualized.
But
She's
it's like
still
not
being
being
sexualized.
ashamed of sex.
no. But even though she's Emma Stone, a woman,
Yeah,
she wasn't a woman in this point. She was still like a teenager.
right.
Yeah, which is in itself.
If you think
disturbing.
about it,
Yeah, it's
she was like not so like, is that what it's about? Mark Ruffalo is like, you know, this like businessman who's taking advantage of this young girl. Is he the Weinstein? And
No, I didn't.
what I mean?
I didn't see that level of
could be
it, like the
something.
1-to-1 ratio in the metaphor. I felt it's more like she's in control of her body. She's not ashamed of it. That she wants what she wants.
No,
she gets
dude,
money
she was-
whenever.
Right.
No, but at that point she had just
Yeah.
discovered.
Yeah.
She was a baby in the beginning. She
Yeah.
wasn't a grown ass woman at that point yet.
True. I didn't read into that, but it could be a little bit of. I mean,
Who
because
knows?
I feel like he's trying to take advantage of her, and then she flips the script.
Yeah,
on
but
him.
forget about that. He took advantage of her.
Yeah.
What happens in the end, who cares? That's like a time jump of like, we're assuming that all of a sudden now she's talking like a regular person.
Right, but
She wasn't. At that point when, wait.
She's like 14.
When he took her away,
Yeah.
she was not doing complete sentences.
Right, but
She was talking like a little kid. Like
the
if she was
life of
10.
this woman was like that even before her other life, right? She commits suicide because she's so unhappy at home, probably in like a abusive
obviously,
relationship.
not probably. He was.
Yeah, and then you go from that to a man who actually does this crazy experiment.
Wait a minute, dude, Dracula. Hold on a second. you're the guy had a gun because he couldn't trust his own staff.
Right. Yeah.
So it
We're
wasn't.
used to work like that in this podcast.
She killed herself and her baby
Right.
because she needed to get away from this man.
Right.
Okay, so that's like
her first life. Then she resurrects in this weird way, also with a man like taking advantage of this opportunity. And she forgives him at the end, but again, like she had no say. Like they did this thing to her. So I think every man tries to take advantage of her one way or another.
And then they have Margaret Qualley. I think that's how you say her name. The new girl coming up from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes.
Oh, they got a hotter girl. They're gonna do it again. This time it's gonna work. I'm like, clearly they're
no. The guy said this time he's like, I'm not gonna get attached.
I'm not gonna get emotional about it.
I
so
see.
that's
They even said that. They even said that when she comes back and goes, "You did this again," and they were like, "We missed you."
Yeah. So
in my head, I was like,
these men controlling over women, and
yeah. So they still did it in the end.
Yeah.
With Margaret Qualley, I was like, oh, I see the appeal.
It's
I
just
wish I was one of the doctors. I was like, that's
right.
I'm sure there's no women watching this, but if there
were,
I'm in trouble.
The opinions
of course, you know.
There's gonna be a lot of courses. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I thought it was like it's one of those movies where like I don't know what this is about. You know, like I literally didn't know what the movie was about, but it was so I thought it was beautifully shot.
Visually is very impressive.
Visually impressive. Right. And I thought like the story moved like this where you were just the whole time you were trying to see what it was about. And then you never knew what it was about. And then the end came, you know? Then when the end came, you were like, oh, okay, that was what a great job she did keeping us captivated this whole time. But it wasn't until later that I keep asking the question of like, I'm pretty sure that a focus group of people sitting around that are like, you know, historians and feminists and movie makers, they would be having one of those really pretentious discussions about this movie.
Oh, yeah.
That would bore the fuck out of everybody watching. But to them, this is the most important movie that has come out in the last 100 years. I feel like it's one of those type things.
Yes.
It's just lost on me what that is. But I am aware that of my ignorance of what that is. And maybe that's a part of it. Because as a dude, if I'm telling another dude about this movie, I'm like, oh yeah, you gotta see this.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Emma Stone.
Right.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like as a dude, like you getting dudes to go see this for that reason.
Yeah.
So I talked to my parents about it and say, hey, you guys have to see this movie. And it never crossed my mind to mention that Emma Stone is naked. You know, it's like something that I don't know.
Oh, I told my dad immediately. Yeah. I was like, oh, it's good.
Oh. But see, okay, now it's coming to me too. And that's another thing too. This is the thing about it too. If you're just a regular dude like we are, everybody in here looks like a regular dude. You go see this movie because it's regular dudes having sex with her.
Is my Ruffalo
it's not
dude?
Oh yeah. He ain't a handsome dude. You know what I mean? You might be a little cuter than him. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
So what I'm saying though is like that's a part. I know that's a part of it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it actually just made me want to see an escort, to be honest with you. I was like, oh, I need to, maybe I'll go on my phone.
And like, I think everything in
that's
the movie. That's
not the intention of the movie.
No, but I do think every choice in the movie was on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
So like, even like one of the more attractive guys that was one of her clients.
Yeah, the priest.
Was a priest.
Yeah.
But he was the priest. And he was this young, cute guy, right? But he was a priest.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so that he still shouldn't have been doing that,
she
right?
says to him, like, and then he's the only one she enjoys. It's like, oh, you have a gift. And then you see him and he turns around with the collar and is like, oh, I'm addicted. This is sin.
One of the Johns reminded me of you, Carlos. I think you know which one.
Yeah.
The first one with long hair.
The skinny one with long hair, yeah.
And there was a lot. So all I'm saying though is that there was a lot of. I think that was a message being sent too. Like I say, look, I would love to hear. I haven't heard any interviews. I wish Emma Stone was here right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would be like, why'd you make the choice to do the amount of nudity that you did for this movie? And there has to be a reason. Because she doesn't normally do this. It's not like it's Angelina Jolie. If it was Angelina Jolie back in the day, we would just kind of be like, oh, that's what she does. But she was naked in Tomb Raider. We saw a little side. There was some side titty in Tomb Raider where we were like, well, that's what she does. She
got to rewatch that movie.
I think the character, like the Bella Baxter's character, I think the sex is like honest to her persona. Like,
aggressive.
Even still,
it's like this awakening and like a shameless and like taking control over
Is this
your
Europe
body.
versus America though? Because I'm kind of in the sense that like, if I ever made a movie, I don't think even if I had to do with like sex or something, I wouldn't have to show sex the whole time.
But I remember, I remember showing students like a scene from a Spanish movie where like people were naked and like
students.
they were in bed, right, and then they went to the bathroom. And in a Hollywood movie, people like wrap themselves on like a blanket or something to go to the bathroom. That has never happened in real life, and that.
Oh well, that's just the but that's what I'm saying though is like, I talk about this on stage. It's so funny we even talk about this. It's like, when you see a bra in a love scene, that's unprofessional because it's because no one does that.
No one.
But so when you see that in your mind, you're like, well, this actress doesn't want to show us her tits.
Or the whole system is like that,
No. But the point is this though. This is about filmmaking.
Yeah.
You don't have to show nudity to imply there's nudity.
Of course.
Sure. And if you're showing nudity in the way that you are, it's either you're just like a perverse person. The creator is like, like that idiot who like I shouldn't say idiot, but like that guy Sam Levinson who does like Euphoria and all.
Oh, that's gnarly.
He feels like a pervert. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's artistic what he's doing.
That was on Twitter, like I think a year ago. People were calling him out. They were like,
well, because you see I think when he does it in Euphoria, you write that line and it feels right, and then he does the other show and it feels like, oh, he went too far.
It didn't feel right in Euphoria. It doesn't feel right in Euphoria at all. I 1,000% disagree with you. It doesn't feel right at all. So Zendaya, Rue is a drug addict and she's never naked.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
The drug addict is never sucking dick for crack money?
Yeah, why aren't we seeing Sydney Sweeney naked more?
Sydney Sweeney, her titties are out. It don't even move the plot. You know what I mean? So I disagree with you completely. No, that's no. That's because she's a Disney princess and she had it in her contract. I'm never going to do nudity.
Right.
That's not artistic integrity to the world he created. So what I'm saying
in that regard, I agree. I'm just saying like the need to show nudity or the reason why showing nudity behind the show is because, well, that's what teenagers are doing.
Yeah, but what I'm telling you is you don't have to show nudity to imply that there's nudity. That's a filmmaker's choice.
Right. But I feel in this movie, and especially in Poor Things, like the choice is like this is a huge part of this character's journey.
Again, you don't have to show nudity to get you're missing the point. She could have still been that way without showing us that. You don't have to show us that she's having sex to imply that they're having sex.
Sure, but that's a very Puritan way of looking at it.
No, it's not. It's called filmmaking. It's called being an artist. If you wait. You think you're being artsy, but you're just being a man right now.
No, because I feel
being European.
Yeah. No. What I'm saying is like you don't have to show nudity.
Yeah.
To imply there's nudity.
Right.
You know what's when you see a woman's naked back, you assuming her titties are out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You don't have to show her titties.
Sure, but it's like for that reason, all art, right? You go to a museum, you see a million paintings of naked, It's part. I think it's part of like the body. You don't have to obviously, in this movie, it's about sex, but you don't have to sexualize every single time there is a naked person.
Well, there's that scene. Remember where she's like first discovering herself?
Yeah.
And Yorgos just shows her feet. Right,
yeah.
Where it's implied that she's doing something. So he shows restraint in that regard, and then hits you over the top with that explicit.
My point is, when you see her feet and you hear things, you already know what's happening.
Yeah,
right.
I'm saying you don't have to visibly show what she's doing.
No, I agree that you don't need to.
Yeah,
I feel like it's the right choice for this movie. I feel like
I'm saying the choice in this movie,
is
what we don't know why they made this choice. I'm saying is like it was very gratuitous. It was very like opposite of what you say you would see in a movie too, because normally
Hollywood movie.
It's supposed to be Ryan Gosling doing that to her.
Yeah,
right.
In La La Land.
Yeah, no, right. Then you're like, then every woman's looking like, ooh, I wish that guy was doing this to me. No, in this movie it was like me. You know what
It
I'm
was
saying?
like the three of us at the
Yeah. So what I'm saying is like, no, it is more to this than what we're saying. It's way more to it. And what I'm telling you is like, I am not a believer that you have to show nudity to tell the story. That is just something we've been doing because we're perverts, because men make movies. Men make Hollywood movies more than anyone else.
Yeah.
Men are the ones that decide, like you know, it's like when you have a intimacy coordinator on a show now,
Yeah.
and they're really big on this now.
Yeah.
It's like,
They had a huge one for this one.
yeah, of course, I know, but
Yeah.
they still made weird choices. I'm saying, and that's why I'm saying they did it on purpose. I'm saying it's like, you could look at Game of Thrones, for instance. Okay, so this new Game of Thrones, the dragon one, whatever. It was a female director, and I saw her interview with her talking about, like, she was like, "Well, I wanted the sex scenes to be different this time.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be from a female perspective. Like, it doesn't have to be like, oh, we're grabbing her tits and raping her from behind.
Absolutely, and you,
that's a man thing.
I agree with that. And this whole thing is called the male gaze, right?
Yes.
And movies, and you've seen it. I don't know if you see the original Carrie, right? Like the opening scene, which I always show in my class, versus like the new Carrie, directed by a woman. You know, in one you have complete, like, you know, it's a locker room that that only happens in the imagination of a man, right? Like women like jumping naked, like, in the slow motion, and it's like that locker room does not exist.
Yeah.
Right?
I also got to rewatch this movie.
But and in the new movies made by a woman, all of that is gone, right? And I agree. There was a huge male gaze thing. It's like but I think this movie is it was directed by a man, but I feel like has this other component that is way more feminist. It doesn't feel it doesn't feel like the exploitive of sex.
We're in agreement about this movie.
Yeah.
But you talked about Euphoria, and you're 1,000% wrong about that. That guy's a pervert.
Yeah.
Okay, that guy's a pervert. Okay, I'm saying in this movie, though, I agree with you. They made this. What I'm saying, but the choice that they made, and the people that they chose to do it with, there was a reason for that.
Right.
I think that's like exploiting the male gaze. It's like showing us, like, hey, this is what. Oh, isn't this what you want? Isn't it? Don't you want the? No, we're like, we kind of want to see Ryan Gosling too. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
You know what I mean? It's like, but then it's like, you know, what do you do in movies? You put yourself in that situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so in this movie, you're watching as a weirdo dude, and you're like, oh yeah, I actually could have been.
What are you drinking right now?
I have these allergies now. I feel so bad.
It's daylight, and so you have to.
This thing is called a Magic Mind.
You guys got to get a air purifier in here.
We're talking about kids before. I haven't slept in 11 months. I'm not kidding. It's like your brain is not functioning well, and this helps a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what like Joe Rogan and Kim Kardashian drink.
We have some of that. I have some of that too at home. It's good.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Right.
Listen, we're in agreement. I just feel like what I'm saying is
Because also she's a producer in the movie.
I'm saying if those people were sitting here, like I said, if those like historians and feminists and Emma Stone and the director, and they were all sitting here talking about why they made these choices in this movie, I'm sure they would give us an insight that we would be like this. Oh.
Yeah.
Because it's like, to me, I don't recall Emma Stone ever being naked on screen.
Yeah. Have you seen The Favorite, the movie that she did with this director like a few years ago?
The Favorite?
Yeah.
I love that movie.
So good.
I don't think she was naked in that.
But
There's definitely a lot of sex in that movie.
And to my point,
right,
you don't see anything.
Same director.
It's the direct. I think it's the director's like. I think he's kind of like, you know, his own like version of perversion. Like he's kind of a sexual dude, I imagine.
But I think that he's doing it in a way that he's like trying to turn it on its head, or trying to be like.
I agree with that.
You know, he's trying to like.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. I really wish I was smarter, because I know that this movie has to do with that, because I don't see her making this choice in any other movie.
The director's manipulating us
somehow. You know what I mean? I really feel like if they were sitting here, they'd be like,
but I don't think
we got him.
Everything is like the metaphor is saying, like, for example, about prostitution. I don't think he's making a statement about prostitution. Like, I think he's just like having fun with it and a little bit of like there's a little humor in the movie.
Well, I think it's very funny.
The whole movie is pretty funny, I would say. Like,
it's very pro sex worker.
Yeah,
but I'm also pro sex worker
like,
myself.
Like,
I'm like, do what you got to do to make money. Who cares?
My own means of production, she says, right? But I don't think she's like, oh, this is a pro prostitution film. You know, I don't say it like that. I think it's just like in her journey.
I like Euphoria, or even like the French creator of Big Little Lies who passed away. In this movie, it feels like there's a time in Hollywood where these like guys who have like these sexual tendencies with their movies or art are like the meme is like the handshake between them and feminists right now. It's like someone like the guys are getting away with murder, showing naked girls, and the women are okay with
sex, death, right? Sex, violence is a driving force on everything. Art-wise,
they're opposites.
Like
violently, especially it's like I have a problem with like it's either have violence or don't have any violence,
right?
But you can't have, like, what I don't appreciate is PG-13 violence is violence.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are we doing? So so Captain America just killed someone, but you're not showing it.
You don't see the blood.
You don't see, it's like I always use this example. So we've been watching we watch Wolverine in these movies for 10 years, and he's got these claws. It wasn't until Logan that when you saw those claws go in that person's head and come out, you were like, oh shit. Like this is, but that's what was supposed to be happening.
Yeah.
So my thing is like, just I feel like that kind of movie, they should all be rated R.
Right.
Just
awesome.
do it right.
Yeah. If Spider-Man was R and there's blood all over the sides of buildings.
I'm just saying, just do it right.
It fits the purpose. I mean, I agree. It's a very American thing too, like violence. The tolerance for violence versus nudity, it's huge. Like you go with a 10-year-old and anything, like from Die Hard back in the day, like you're killing people all the time. You just don't see the real consequences. It's not real violence. And then you have the Tarantino version, which is like, it's so violent that it's also not real. It's like blood comes like syrup. So you're because if you watch a documentary and you see a real dead person, like it affects you very different than it does.
Yeah.
So
which is probably like it should be like that.
It should be like that.
And
I don't, I always love violence in movies and never translated that into, because there was that moment in the 90s with like the Oliver Stone and Tarantino.
Yeah.
Where like everybody who went to prison was like, well, I saw it in a movie or I play a video game. I think that's bullshit. I think
they've already debunked all that anyway.
Right.
I'm just talking about as an adult. I want to see adult things.
Right.
I'm just saying. And then now as a soon to be new parent, it's like, well, what are we like? Are there things we could show that have nothing to do, like there's no violence in it? Is there like, but like don't act like this violence is okay versus something else. I mean,
the magical violence, the superhero violence, is a little bit different, than real. I don't know.
PG-13 is the worst thing to happen to movies, man.
It sure is.
It's just watered down.
It's an
violence.
80s thing, right?
Either PG or rated R.
Yeah.
They when they made those
make
movies,
it PG, make it rated R.
Yeah.
There should be no middle ground. There isn't a middle ground. Because the middle ground is fake. The middle ground is like, it's like, my thing is always like, and what I appreciate, the movies have been sort of doing this recently. So like this is stupid, but like the Superman movies, so what they were trying to do with DC. So Superman has this fight with Zod and literally destroys the city.
Yeah.
And they address it in the movies. They're like, hey,
yeah, later on there's consequences.
Yeah, there's like, you want to talk about this $1 billion of damage that you did and the 10,000 people that are dead?
Yeah.
What are we talking about here, Superman?
I love that.
So there's a part of us that's like, because I used to do that myself. I would watch like Fast and the Furious and like they would like cut off a car and a gas truck would explode and I'd be like, well, that guy's dead.
Yeah.
The car he just ran into is dead. Like in this new Batman movie. The new Batman with Robert Pattinson, right?
Yeah.
He's chasing the Penguin. A gas truck blows up. How is the Penguin just alive? How is he not in jail?
Right.
There's a part of us now that our brains we're way more smart about these kinds of things. So now we're looking at just like, should he just?
But in those movies, you don't bring that the 100% reality into it, because if not, you cannot enjoy it.
I know, but it's happening more though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like this is Marvel's fault. Marvel connected the universe. So it is now impossible for people to go to movies. If you go to a Marvel movie now, you're like, where's Captain America?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care if he's in this universe, where is he? Isn't that an alien attacking some shit? Where's Thor? Where's
Oh yeah, they always say like Thor's off planet.
Oh,
they always have an excuse.
You have to say that.
Oh, I know. Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you have to, because now we're like, okay, so where's Avengers coming?
Yeah, exactly.
It was just Thor. That don't make no sense.
Right.
Where did he call his buddies? Like he should have went. They should have one phone call. I got it, guys. Don't worry. I'll handle this one.
That happened to Spider-Man, the second Tom Holland one. He asked like where the Avengers are. They're like they're all busy.
They're dealing with other shit.
What I'm saying
they're
is
doing their
like,
taxes right now.
They did that. That's that's happened. So now like the universes are connected. So now they're trying to disconnect the universes because it's not working anymore. Because they're not very good filmmakers anymore.
Right.
Like the DC universe, those guys, the people that run DC are a bunch of idiots. You know what I mean?
Also, they turn traditional heroes that were more like pure into dark. Like Superman didn't destroy things. He didn't kill people.
That was the other
he
thing.
became
Yeah,
like a dark Superman, and everything had to be dark.
Well, I mean, actually, not to be a comic book nerd here, but he actually did do that. He
but not like on Chuck Hulse and like
no, in the comic book when
he did
he was. I don't mind a person being grief stricken because the love of his life is killed. And like, it's like when you are the problem with the Superman character is he's God.
Yeah.
And it's hard to like, what do you do with that?
Right.
There's nothing there's nowhere to go.
It's always, I always felt like when you do like Superman versus Batman, is like, why? It doesn't make sense even.
It's always a fluke.
Like, it's like, well, how do you fight a God?
But I thought that was great the way they did that. I mean, it's like, I'm going to use kryptonite.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. You have to
and
find
even in that moment, Superman was like, all right, dude, you need to, stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the whole fight, Superman's like, okay, you got me with the kryptonite, but I can fucking break your neck right now, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying not to kill you, dude. Stop. Bro. You know what I mean? Like at a certain, so he still always had this moral.
Yeah.
I mean, what was wrong? But that's why Batman's a better character.
Way better.
He's a way better character. You know what I mean?
The closest to us too. Like,
yeah. He's like, ooh, if I had money, I'd have a Batcave.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's like
But for example, all of those movies and all of that way of doing filmmaking, there's relationships in those movies and there's never sex. Not only imply or not imply, there's that part of the world is out. It's only violence. It's only
when I see nudity now in a movie, I just go, you're lazy. It depends on what it is,
Yeah, depending on what it is.
Depending on what it is, it's like a lot of times it's just lazy because like if you're making a show for ABC, you can imply that they are naked, that they just had sex without showing it, and still get the same feelings if it's done right.
Even The Sopranos, they shot every scene twice that had nudity. They would put bikinis on the strippers at Bada Bing. So it's like they didn't even need sex for their like when they replayed them on AMC or something. They were ready for that when they were shooting it.
Yeah,
it made no difference.
I feel like you have to be truthful to whatever you're talking about, and like if you're talking about the underworld and you're in a strip club, of course the people have to be naked. Now, does it have to happen in a strip club? And what is the intention because of shooting there? I agree with you. It could be many things, and it could be
See, I agree with you. Because it's like when I think about Game of Thrones, and I remember Emily, what is her name?
Clark.
Emily Clark made a choice. Like, you know what? I'm famous, and I don't like this. You're never.
I have power now, and
But here's the thing, though. There's a scene in Game of Thrones where she's in bed, clearly naked, and this warrior is butt ass naked.
Yeah.
Dick out, pacing in front of the bed, and they're having this conversation. She's visibly holding a sheet like this.
Mm-hmm.
She basically should have just looked at camera and went, "You're never seeing me naked again."
Yeah.
Like that to me was like, why would you do that in this situation? This isn't real. So my point about it would be like, the real power would be, we're not going to do this scene like this.
Yeah.
We're going to do this scene at the dinner table.
Definitely.
We're going to do this scene like we're going to be like, oh, I'm just getting out of bed, cut. As soon as the sheet comes down, cut. And now she's in a robe and they're talking in another room or something.
Yeah.
Sure, but you can also see how it might not be sexualized, or if two people are naked having a discussion in a bedroom and it's not about sex, it could have an effect on you and the couple, like, and you might recognize, oh, fuck, I had that discussion before, and it happens there.
I agree with you, but what I'm saying is she, because of the choice she made, it took away from it.
That. Yeah.
It took away from this moment.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying for her to like actually be holding the sheet with a guy she just had sex with who's butt ass naked.
Yeah.
It's like, this is for us.
Especially,
it's not for the world.
it's a character that was
and I don't like
so naked at the beginning, and also she was very young. And yeah, you can see a little bit of that male gaze, but also is this world that is so violent, and so sometimes
I don't even blame her though. I don't even blame her. I'm saying like it's like she's like, okay, if I'm gonna be in this male gaze universe, I'm gonna do it like this.
Right.
I'm holding this up. Oh, you gonna fire me? Oh, you gonna fire me? You gonna fire the Queen of Dragons? Are you gonna fire me? That's basically what she was doing.
Yeah.
I'm sure the filmmakers were like, oh, she's holding the sheet.
Yeah.
I mean, like, kudos.
They would have loved for her to be topless.
Yeah, why is she holding the sheet like that? Because she was like, because I'm the star. And I think that's on them.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that's on them to be like, you know what? Yeah, let's cut. Let's move. Let's do something different. And the fact that they didn't do anything different, to me, is like, what's wrong with...
Right. But also another thing with nudity, for example, in European movies, you see a lot of the guys also naked. Something that you don't see here. And immediately when you see it in the US, it puts you in a weird position.
Yeah, because it's not the same.
Right. But in terms of the reality, bringing reality to a moment, it'll...
Listen, I completely agree with you. And again, this is something I talk about on stage. When we think of nudity in movies, what do we think of?
Women.
We think of, but what specifically?
Tits.
That's nudity. Okay?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Everybody loves tits.
That's true.
Even women love tits.
Yeah. They're beautiful.
Tits and a man's penis are not on the same page. You know why? Because we didn't grow up getting nourishment from our dad's dick.
At least not everybody.
He's revealing something about his childhood. What I'm saying is that's why psychologically it's not the same. So this whole idea that like, well, if we're going to show women, we should show men. The reason why it's uncomfortable is that reason.
Right. No, and I agree. I mean, just say like there is reasons to show nudity and there's reasons not to do it. And I feel like I don't like the idea of banning nudity for being just, prude about it.
First of all, tits also come ready. They're ready out the box.
That's true. They're right.
They don't need any prep.
They don't need any prep time. Like you're not. You know what's crazy? All your European nudity.
Yeah.
You're still not showing a rock hard dick.
No.
So then you know what? You Europeans, shut the fuck up.
Except some movies.
No.
You would be hard.
I'm so tired of this like pretentious European bullshit. Well, we show dick. No. You're showing stupid little soft dick. When I see some rock hard dick in a movie, then you can talk shit to us.
There is a couple. Have you guys
In your class?
No, not in my class. My class doesn't have those. But
Everyone, this is
Lars von Trier made a movie called The Idiots where they have like actual real sex in the movie, which was,
which is a porno.
Yeah, which is in that line. It's a full movie like with
It's like that one
blood.
movie, Love.
Yeah.
Where the director
They had those moments.
he's in the movie having sex with the girl.
Yeah.
They're showing penetration.
Yeah. So
that becomes what's the difference between art and pornography?
Isn't that Antichrist too? Willem Dafoe?
And Antichrist is the same director, Lars von Trier.
See?
Slow motion.
Last Tango in Paris didn't.
Last Tango in Paris doesn't show that, but it implies
real
things that are
sex,
pretty.
though, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Marlon Brando. No, then they didn't tell the
They
girl.
did the
the
batter,
19-year-old girl.
The
They didn't
batter
tell her.
scene. That's already a little more like complicated because that's like.
But that's
70s.
we're going
That's
back. But
insane.
again,
Yeah.
but this goes to the point of what we're talking about. All I'm saying is like that it's like there's.
No, it's an interesting discussion because for me, this movie, although it does have that sex and that sexual awakening, to me, it's not the thing that it got me. I think like because like you said, like the set, the wardrobe, the colors. there is so many decisions in terms of how she changes. You know, she starts with those like huge like 80s like clothing that looks like a big baby, ends up being, you know, at the end has like a corset and it looks like more like a woman like
her dialect changed.
Right.
She became like she was like a little girl and then she turned into a woman. So I agree with you. All I'm pointing out is that I don't think there was a thing in this movie that was not for a choice and a point to be made.
Yeah.
I don't think it was for fun. I don't think it was any kind of like perverse from the director. I think they made specific choices, and I would love to hear them talk about it. Like, I would love to see they're sitting around and like, you know, like I said, a group of people. It's like feminists and
I'm sure they'll have that
and pretentious movie types, and they're sitting there and they're being like, oh, so why did because like again, I cannot recall ever Emma Stone being this naked in a movie ever.
Yeah,
I was thinking of that.
And for her to make this choice, she did it on purpose. Yeah. And I'm sure they were sitting around, they talked about it. You know, no one's ever seen my coochie before. Right. This would be great because it serves this purpose. I mean, it was so like, and I couldn't stop thinking about that. You know, I was outside of the movie a lot, just being like, you know, looking at this like, damn, I wonder why she's doing this.
Yeah, props to Emma Stone for just going all in, and even her physicality of like doing the little awkward baby steps.
Oh, she was like, that's what I'm saying. It was a magical performance.
Oh yeah, I think she's gonna win the Oscar.
But there was a point to what I'm saying is there was a point to like. There was a point to be made, and I think that like if they were listening to a bunch of men talk about this movie, or like you hear a guy say, "Oh man, you gotta see this movie, Emma Stone." Yeah, you know, I think they would be like this.
Just you wait.
Yes, this is why we did. You know, so what I'm saying is I wish it was more clear,
but
what that is.
Well, during the movie, I was putting myself, like, trying to relate to the men in it, and I was like, oh, am I Mark Ruffalo or am I Rami Malek? Like, am I the jealous type or the open-minded type? And I think that's...
No, I'm Rami Malek. I thought...
I mean, that's just like...
Not Rami Malek, no?
No, you mean Rami Youssef.
Yeah, Youssef, Malek. I did the more...
Well, you were like, no, but what you were like, again, okay, so the man perspective would be Rami Youssef, like, his character was like a bitch.
Oh,
and I think that's what they want.
Accepting.
Yeah, like, and by the way, she didn't like that.
But in showbiz, but in like modern...
She did not like it, because if she would have liked it, she would have stayed with him.
Right. The moment, actually, when he gets a little flustered, she's like, oh.
I'm finally attracted to you.
Right. Yeah.
So that was very telling, too.
Yeah.
You know, it was very telling. Like, the telling part about it, like, if you're a guy, you're looking at this like, yeah, of course she went with the fuck boy. The guy with the money and the fast talking. Yeah, right. So that's the guy you go fuck?
Yeah.
So like if you're like, so the story for us is like well, don't be a nice guy.
Well,
but again too, not to cut you off, is that he also, his intention was to take advantage of her too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He knew that she was like, you know, or whatever,
which is what a lot of fuckboys are like. Like the nice guys are still gonna do that anyway.
Well,
that's the thing too.
Yeah.
Like,
there's this thing about what a nice guy is, and like a little bit of the demasculating, like today and everything. You know, like you have to ask for permission, and there is a little bit of things that it just doesn't work like that. You know, sometimes like kissing someone.
Listen to the European.
Yeah.
No,
it doesn't work.
I'm just saying, like when you
have to take it.
I'm not saying like that. I think there is always a risk. There is always a risk. Like if you kiss someone for the first time, you can be rejected. That thing you don't ask.
I don't know how many times I've been in a situation.
And it's not
a girl say, I don't like when a guy asks me to kiss.
Oh, 1,000,000%. Yeah.
And it's not
and we're sitting here like, are you watching the news, bitch?
Yeah. That's a real
My first girlfriend said
that. I have a notary with me.
In universities today, that's like a real thing where kids aren't having sex as much because of this like hang.
Well, because it goes too far, and obviously there is a lot of bad shit happen, and that you don't want to take
that out there too. We're not condoning any sort of bad behavior, but we acknowledge that like the people.
But someone trying to kiss someone say, "Hey, I'm not interested." That is not. That is how things are.
Yeah,
you know,
that's usually the case.
Nobody feels. I mean, you feel hurt, but it's not. You don't feel like assaulted.
And that's why we're more equipped to, you know, like as a guy, we're more equipped to deal with rejection.
Yeah.
Thanks to women.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
big time.
I remember being a kid. I was like a little kid, and there was a girl. I'm hanging out with this girl, and I was like, oh, maybe I should kiss her. And she went like this. No, we're not like that.
Absolutely.
So it's like you go, that happens, and you go, all right, I took my shot. But now what happens is that story is later told, and then I felt so uncomfortable, and I didn't know what to do.
I think it's only a small percentage. It gets blown out.
But I'm saying women... it's revisionist history. What the issue becomes as a guy. So you're worried like, well, that's not how I saw it happening.
Right.
I just was, then you're like, all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, what happened?
Yeah.
So now I think to your point is what I think young men are they're being like, yeah, I'm not gonna.
Right. I'm gonna ask first. I'm gonna send a text first, or be on an app that already allows me. Yeah. I think it's.
Well, I had a friend of mine. He was like, he had a situation where he was getting accused of some stuff, and then but he had on his phone a long interaction back and forth with her.
Good. Yeah.
Of naked pictures. Oh, we're gonna do this. I had the whole history. So then you had to show that, but now you have to be like, well, here, police.
Yeah.
Here's look at everything that went on between us.
And now people are like, oh, maybe I just won't have sex then. If you're like 22 on a college campus.
But at the same time, though, it's like I think that there is something to the old way of courting, and like I think there is something about like that's missing from society, that we have this idea that you're supposed to have you should have 1,000 partners before you get married or whatever like that. I think that there is something like lost on the idea of like romance and all and then it's like you have all these things where people get in trouble like that. They're just one football player, or he was a young football player. He's about to be drafted, and he's at a party, and the woman accused him from stuff. Yeah. Turns out it was all lies, but he lost his career. Yeah. But when I look at that situation, I think, oh, hey, you know what? When you're at a party with strangers and there's alcohol, don't engage with.
Yeah.
Right.
Those are the lessons that need to be.
I think the pendulum like goes too far to overcorrect.
Is that what's happening now?
Yeah. Because tons of shit happened in college campuses for so long where and women are silenced immediately and all of that, and the school doesn't protect them. And now it goes a little bit farther to the other side. I don't know how many. I mean, I read some of those stories, but I don't know how much that's happening, that women are accusing men falsely, all the time. I don't.
Oh, no, I'm not. I don't think that. I'm not saying I don't think we think that. I'm just saying it's like. I'm just saying it's like when you're in this situation. Yeah. I think go nuance. There's a bigger nuance to what's happening here. I think that a lot of this has to do with alcohol. A lot of this has to do with drinking with people you don't know. A lot of this has to do with being comfortable with strangers. And it's like you shouldn't be comfortable with strangers. I don't really know you.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
so the road or something like that.
Yeah, just because I'm attracted to you physically doesn't mean that I know you as a person and can trust that I'm safe with you. I mean, these are the real lessons that need to be taught. I don't think the message shouldn't be, hey, just stay away from people and don't have sex and be careful because women are liars.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
I think this message for women and men is like, hey, let's be a little bit more cautious. Let's take some more time before we decide to be intimate, before we decide to put ourselves in a certain situation,
Oh, I love that scene in the movie of Emma's like, I want to tell a joke, or I want to or she has a little interview with the guy. It's like, we'll have better sex. He likes hey, this is better this way.
See, and that's exactly what I was going to get to. That's so funny you say that, because it's like that's the moment where she was telling herself hey, I think this could be better if because even as you were going through her state of mind throughout that process when she became a hooker, she was just kind of you were with her with the things she was saying. She was like, oh, you're not going to take a bath?
Right.
You know what I mean? She's like, oh, this is how am I enjoying this? So she was saying to herself, hey, can we find a way for me to enjoy this too?
Also, there's a moment where the madame tells her, well, you won't believe this, but some people like that you don't enjoy.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and which is true.
I so whenever I've seen an escort, I try and do some banter. Just have a couple laughs. Did you see the news today?
Right. Can I tell you something?
What did Trump say?
Let me tell you something right now. I call this strip club mentality.
Okay. Oh.
Listen, when you step foot in a strip club, I don't care how nice of a man you think you are.
Yeah.
To those women, you're a piece of shit. And you are there to take advantage of them.
I'm so sad. I didn't realize that.
You're there to take advantage of them. You're a piece of shit. And you know who gets it the worst? The nice guys who shouldn't be there.
Is that me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
See, that's why you're going to get taken advantage of. When they see you and they're like, oh, this dude shouldn't be here. We taking all his money.
Yeah.
I'm like, please.
No, the dudes that like say are okay in a strip club, they're the assholes.
Mm.
They're the ones that like they know exactly why they're there. And the woman knows that now it's a transaction. It's transactional. He ain't trying to like feel good about himself. Like, hey, so you think you're gonna like have a nice conversation with the escort and make her feel good?
I mean, sometimes they have a laugh, just so like in the movie, so we can have a better time.
Cheese to meet you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably more for me.
Yeah.
Probably more.
That's
for
what
me.
I'm saying.
Yeah. But like if they have if it's at a hotel and like HBO's on, I'll be like, oh, I like this episode or some, just
Yeah.
And you know what that is? What that is the feeling of like that's
Normalcy.
that's
You want to be normal.
That's the insecurity of being like, damn, you don't want to, because the actual thing of it is you are paying for sex,
Right.
and then in your mind is like, am I paying for sex because I can't get other women? Am I paying for sex because I'm not good with other situations? So you don't want to feel like that.
Mm.
And you want to feel like, are you only with me because I'm paying you? That's a terrible feeling. Okay? So the nice guys do that. Nice guys are like, maybe she likes me. Maybe
Let me cook for her.
let me bring her some roses and make her feel like she's good. And in her mind, she must be like, this fucking idiot.
It's like let's
Yeah, this is a job. I don't like you. I would never be with you because you're doing this.
I've
Right.
definitely driven a stripper from the body shop on Sunset. Like after her shift, she needed a ride home. I was like, oh, don't worry about it. In the Valley, I've definitely signed AA cards for girls.
Yeah, she's telling her friends, you're a sucker.
Yeah, I signed it Zac Efron just to be funny, just to see if I get caught.
I'm just saying that's like, don't think that it's like, you're a mark.
It's so interesting that this movie brings this conversation.
It's the nicer. I'm saying the nicer you are, the more you're not supposed to be there.
Oh, damn.
That's what was interesting in the movie. Is like the priest.
Yeah.
That's an example right there. Is like you're not supposed to be there. So what I'm saying is like when it's transactional for both people, that's when it's the best situation.
Yeah, but this movie, you don't have a man that you want to identify with, because the nice guy, he's too much of a sucker, like you said. He's not. His qualities, he's very
not attractive to her.
understanding.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't become attractive to her.
Right. Even when she say like, "Hey."
But don't girls that watch this like him?
I was. I don't know.
I was
a hooker all the time, and I was charging $30 or 30 francs, and it's like not enough. So there's a lot of humor in the interaction, but at the end of the day, he's like, whatever. Then you have the guy who's going to take her by force with the gun. And then you have the player who...
The guy that sort of like, everybody,
So there's no man.
There was no man. There was no
even the dad who feels the most normal, at the end of the day, he was the Frankenstein monster.
Yeah, he lied to her.
So what is the ending shot is like basically... She's with the other girl, and they're like, toasting, and it feels like that's the interaction that like, the black girl, the other hooker in Paris, and her have a better understanding of the world, and then the guy looks like it's more like a servant.
So is that the point? Like men are worthless?
No, I'm not sure.
I'm trying to get to like what.
I think so.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm trying to get to like.
Yeah, it's like you don't need a man.
Exactly.
There is a lot of
variety. Pays you.
That's
there is
what
a lot
really
of that type of like. If you see Barbie has a man that is also very much like, they're not great.
Yeah.
And what is that movie on Netflix, like Fair Play or something? Where like
Fair Play.
Is it called Fair Play? I don't know. The two guys is a couple who have the same job. She gets a promotion. He just crushes that. He's like a sucker.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of that in the
But I mean, but even in this, even in Poor Things, as much as we're going to say like whatever they're trashing men or whatever, I still think that they showed something in the end there when the guy, when he like finally has some backbone, and she's like, oh, I'm finally attracted to you.
Yeah,
that's still a message there too.
Yeah.
The message there too is like, because it's like if you look back on it, you'd be if he would have been like, nah, you ain't going no place, like they about to get married, he should have been like, no.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
Or like when she comes and says, hey, I'm leaving, he's like, you ain't leaving.
Yeah.
I want you to stay. Like he could have done something right there, and they didn't. Instead, they went and found another dead girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was surprising that he didn't stand up for her, and I guess that's the choice.
That's the
because
choice.
He's such a
Yeah.
He's like, also, you cannot cage the women. You know?
Right.
You get
no, but what I'm saying, he made it very easy for her to leave.
Yeah.
She was like, "You're nothing like this guy."
Oh yeah, even like me, I would have made it hard. Like even just literally me, I'd be like, "What, bitch? You're leaving? Fuck."
Because the other guy at the beginning,
you would have got your wallet out. Do you need some? Take my credit card, please. I want you to be okay.
Yeah, my Lisbon card.
What is your favorite scene in the movie?
I really like the convo with Gerard and her, like overlooking the poor people. I thought that was so powerful. I thought it was such a beautiful set too.
Like the Alexandria.
Yeah, I just thought it was so cool. That was my favorite part. And it was just I loved it.
I don't know. For me, I don't know if I had a favorite scene as much as I enjoyed Mark Ruffalo's performance.
Yes.
And how it like, it's like, when you actually start to love someone and you lose yourself, you lose yourself. Like he really lost himself. I
can totally relate to that.
Like she broke. Yeah, me too.
Because he thought he was playing her.
Yeah.
Do not fall in love with me. Whatever. Or I'm the master. Don't think like you're gonna have sex like the one that you have with me.
I feel like that's like the worst version of me in like the Mark Ruffalo character. Like mad, like please come back, you bitch. Like like.
No, but even what you're saying there too is like. What it showed too is that it's not sex isn't what keeps someone around. That was the message I got from that.
Yeah.
As a great of a lover he was and what he did for her, she made it like, well, this is just sex. This isn't intimacy.
Right.
This isn't what, and that's the choice she made in the end is to be with the other guy because this guy actually cared for her.
Yeah.
That's like a popular...
But she needed him to also be like, look, I care for you and I love you, but can you also turn me on?
Be a bit more...
I need you to turn me on.
Right.
The message is you need both. You need both those things, both of those things in the middle.
But the message too there, maybe you do, but at the same time though, she didn't make a great choice either because that guy turned out to be like the message there also was like, oh, you're gonna go for the fuck boy that like that you think is like making, but he don't care for you.
But because her mind wasn't developed yet, she had to experience the fuck boy.
She had to go through the full round to get it back.
Yeah, I can't do this. Bye. I finally died.
Thank you so much. In her 20s, she's got to be let free.
Thank you, guys.
My favorite scene is the dancing. I think I laughed so hard on that scene, and I felt like with food and with sex, like the first. When she hears music for the first time, her body loses control, and then because he is in polite society, he wants to. Well, this is a scene. He is, I think, the funniest like dancing there. And I really, really laughed hard at that moment, and I thought it was really a fun choreography and a good moment for the movie. Like, okay, this is. Well, he needs to experience it all.
If I had to pick like one, like a memorable scene that maybe meant more than it probably showed, was when like the sort of like nanny. Sort of gruff nanny, she walks over and Emma Stone's kind of like, she's like,
you have a sour face.
Something's wrong. You need somebody to play. You need, have you done this? You know what I mean? And she's like, oh, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And
she grabbed my hairy part.
Yeah,
and it was very telling. It's very telling of like someone who is like just has. Like obviously just no asexual person.
Yeah,
totally.
And she's saying like this kind of youthful like. This feels good. You got to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
The movie reminds me a lot of, God, I've been thinking about this for like months now. I mean, years probably. But like when you meet a girl like on an app or something and she just moved to LA and it's like, I was talking to this girl. She's like, I just moved to LA with my sister and like we were going to go out. And then I just saw her on Instagram partying all the time. And I was like, I think you need to have your own time. You just got here. You're discovering yourself. I'm not for you. Like, I'm not going to like clubs.
God, this generation of people. First of all, nothing that you see online is a person's life.
Right.
It tricks me all the time.
Nothing that you see online is a person's life. What's wrong?
Everything is said in it.
What's wrong with this generation, I think? Not to sound like an old guy, but y'all have no game. You're all bitches.
I'm trying to have some riz.
Well, but
no, let me finish.
It's true.
No, let me finish. Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Please.
Sorry. Yeah.
You don't know about pheromones. You don't know about eye contact. You don't know about body language. You don't know about, you have no game because it's all about, oh, I see a person on here and we have zero contact other than these out of context words. Mm-hmm. And then when you finally get in person, you don't know what the fuck's happening. You don't know how, It's like if you ever wonder why, say, what you would consider an unattractive person gets with someone who's attractive, it's all these things I'm talking about. That's game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to be able to speak, make them laugh, your personality. Again, pheromones and body language and all that stuff is so important, and it's lost on the young men today.
I agree. And also, as a survival instinct when you're not super attractive, right? Because if you're Brad Pitt, you never had to be funny, but if you're not, you develop these other skills. You want to make sure that you need to somehow be able to still attract people, so you develop
and again too, and it's so much more superficial when people talk about oh, someone's only with you for your money or something like that, right? And I disagree with that too. That the girl that is like that she'll show herself to be who she is right away. You'll know when a person's trying to use you, right? It just presents itself. No, people are attracted to confidence. People are attracted to not the money you have, but how you got it.
Right, and that's why Emma Stone is super attracted to Mark Ruffalo at the beginning. He's extra confident, and it's he comes in and is like, you even say, of course you're going to go in that adventure. He's telling her, I'm going to take you to Lisbon and this and that, and he just came into my room, and he didn't ask for permission, right? And then he loses that, and that's when he's like, oh, I'm not attracted to you anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. Then he becomes this sort of weird, chubby guy.
Yeah. yeah.
You know what I mean? That's obsessed with her, and you just go, oh, he lost the thing. But what I'm saying is, again, that is something that is I feel like it is lost on this sort of internet phone generation. Being I always tell people, if you go on a dating app, get off that shit right away. Meet a girl, talk, then be like, hey, can we FaceTime?
Yeah.
Can we video? Because I want to talk to you. And then be like, hey, we want to go get some coffee? Let's go, get out of this thing right away.
Yeah, also, you don't get tone or
context,
sarcasm, joke, all of that.
Another thing too is do not fight with anyone over text.
No, hell no.
I cannot stress this enough. All you young people that think, oh no, I'm being very clear. That's how they talk. No, I'm being so clear. No. Do not ever fight with anyone over text. If a disagreement is happening, you got to be like, hey, can we talk? Can we talk about this next time I see you?
Yeah.
Do not do it.
Do you think anyone fought over letters back in the day? Sending letters back and forth, letters with arguments.
But you know what?
The longest fight.
You know what happened though? It's this is what happens. So back in the day, what would happen is you fight with someone. Let's say there's no phone. You fight with your wife, your girl. You leave to go to work. You have time to stew. You have time to think about it. You have time to be reflect. And then you get home that day and you be like, I thought about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
What's happening now is as soon as you walk out the door, you bitch. And then you're fighting all day by text. And you think, and here's the thing too, what's hilarious about it. Mm-hmm. Even during this podcast right now, I could be fighting with my wife. So I can have my phone like this. But we're having this conversation and we're having a good time. And just for a second, I could be like, just 1 second, what the fuck's wrong with you? So anyway, guys, and then boom, boom, boom. I'm not really living that. This ain't real.
Yeah.
True.
You think that you're sitting around being lovey-dovey. No. Think about how many times you've texted someone who you're into, and just in that moment, you're like this. And then after you go, hey, can I get a salad with no ranch or blah, 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 blah. You're living that moment is not the moment that you're living. The person has to be there with you to experience that moment, to really, because now you have to continue. You know what I'm saying? And then you messed up with that girl.
I know.
You saw her party. That was just a moment she was having there. That wasn't her whole life.
I really fucked up. She's so hot too.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, you could have just been you could have had,
I sent her Postmates and I was like, I shouldn't have bought her something.
Postmates?
She was hungry. I sent her Goop.
To be honest, Carlos.
Did she tell you she must have went like this? She must have been I'm so hungry. Oh my God, I can't even.
And I was like, I'll send you Goop. It's
you have the same thing that Bobby has. This love bombing thing with money and gifts and things where
it's a control issue.
It's you think like by doing all of that stuff that you get in the head.
That we can control them, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's all about insecurity because you don't think you're enough.
Yeah, that's I guess why Bobby bought all those Aviator Nation jackets.
So when you don't think you're enough, you think you have to do other things.
I mean, speaking of control, like, isn't that what the whole Poor Things is about? Just men trying to control,
lack of control. Yeah,
just like just realizing, oh, we can't.
Yeah.
In their own way. Everyone's trying to control in their own way. And
even
that's
her
not how it
though.
goes.
Even what she was doing too was like, in her own way, trying to like, that's why she, in the end, again, she comes back to the guy that she's like, I want to be with you, but like, I think you need to like, come on. Now she knows what she likes and doesn't like. And she's like telling him like, you can't be like this. I need a little bit more of that.
Which in a way, it is all of us. Like you have to go grow up, experience a little bit things that you might not like or like.
Regardless, I love the movie. I really did.
Me too.
And
again, that's why I say like I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was enjoyable from beginning to end.
Yeah.
I thought it, but in the end, you were like, oh, okay, what was that about?
I say how like you said, it moves. Like everything's on purpose. So many movies don't do that.
Oh, anymore. I know. So many.
So happy.
I haven't seen a movie like that. That like just like it was very captivating from beginning to end.
Yeah, I think they
very good script.
The tone was so good because it's dealing with things that are, whatever, could be uncomfortable or deep, but because it's always funny, and they were funny without having to, it's not jokey,
but subtle funny too, which I loved.
And I love that. I think there's a lot of irony or a lot of like sarcasm through, how they see poor people or how they talk
all
about
of
prostitution.
That. But even when I was watching the movie, and then like Mark Ruffalo would say a thing, and I was just kind of watching because I was like enjoying it as like a sort of an artsy way,
Yeah.
And then when I heard people laughing, I was like, it took me out of it because I was like, oh wow, this is like
when she
I wasn't expecting like
it to be.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting. It's like this is, I don't know, is this a movie we should be laughing at?
Right.
Thing, But it just made it. It was like you were like, oh, okay. Like again, I just think everything was deliberate. Everything was a choice.
Yeah.
And I feel like if she was gonna do a movie where she's like, nah, you're gonna see my hairy bush. Which was also a choice too, because I'm sure it's not normally like that.
Yeah,
she seems like a modern woman. I think if this movie was like in 2000, I think if this was like, let's say it was in modern times,
right?
It wouldn't have been like that.
Yeah,
right. But it's also it takes place in this fake past.
Yeah. So but who knows? But maybe she's into that. Who knows? All I'm saying though is that like that was a very like deliberate choice. Like I just like it was just like I was like, oh wow.
Because her character doesn't mean anything to her. It's just my body, and that's it. Matter of fact.
She's going for it, So you go that, I can't. Maybe it's like just be, we're the kind of people that do podcasts and things like that. So you overthink things, you intellectualize things a lot. So even when I'm watching, I was thinking about that in the movie. I'm sitting there with my wife, and I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot of nudity for Emma Stone. That was the first thing I thought. The first thing I thought was like, oh wow. That first sex scene was like with Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was gnarly.
The first, and I was like, oh shit. I even thought Mark Ruffalo? You know what I mean? Like I
even thought that when he read the script, like I think I read.
I'm sure he was like,
I'm 55. Am I still,
I'm pounding the shit
people want to see? Do people want to see me doing this?
The script that said that,
Pound shit out of
me. Like, God, wait, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you do another Hulk movie? Damn.
Yeah.
Because the moment it ends, like she has that line that is a trailer line, right? Like, oh, why do people don't do this all the time? It's like, I think there's a lot of like meaning under the movie, like you guys are pointing out. And,
there's a meaning that and it's like, I guess that's what's great about the movie. It sparks a discussion.
Yeah.
It makes you like, it really makes you think about relationships and sex and women and the male and women relationships. And it just was like, it was very fascinating.
Yeah, and then it's also very beautiful. Like the sets are amazing, the costumes, like even that lens that he likes to use in all his movies. There's like super wide lens of 4, that is like basically like looking through a peephole and you can see the whole world. I think it's definitely, and the acting is amazing.
It really was amazing. And you kind of like, I thought too, it was like there was, you root for her. Because there's a part of you that feels bad for her at first. Where you're like, oh man, she's like,
Yeah.
And then there's even a part, even when like, the little part where he's hiding the titty, there's a part where you're just like, yeah, she is hot, but you're like, oh, but she's not there.
But she's like a baby
Yeah,
or something.
you're kind of like, oh, I wish she was
her
like
body
older,
and her brain are not in sync, right? Like that.
And so we were watching it get in sync the whole movie, but you kind of felt for her the whole way. You rooted for her the whole way. It's like, even when she had to become a hooker, and you were like, all right, good rationale. I get why you want to do that. But then when she was in it, you were like, oh man, because the madam. See, what I liked about that too, though, is that the madam girl was reminding us that no, this ain't a good life,
right? Yeah,
because that's how you end up, an old haggard ass,
right,
tatted up, weird chick that has that just like has this jaded view of life.
Yeah.
So you were like, oh, please don't become her. So you still were rooting for her the whole way.
I thought she would be broken from that whorehouse. I thought for sure that she would be broken.
And then when she then the husband finds her.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh no.
Right.
And then she still makes the choice where she's like, yeah, I want to go with him.
I want to see
she's
what
like,
this
I want to see what
another type of guy.
How did this happen to me?
Right.
What and you see her and then it's like it's so like when she was just kind of like, yeah, I think I want to leave.
Yes.
She was like,
thank you for trying to trap me.
Yeah, she was like, yeah, thank you for trying to do this. You're kind of an asshole, and I'm gonna leave. So you were just kind of like, oh wow, and again, I was like,
that has a lot of, I think, because what he wants to do is he wants to clip her, he wants to extract her sexual organs, right? Like he wants to, because he thinks that's the root of her problem. Because she's a sexual being, therefore she has all these problems. She doesn't want to be a mom, or she didn't want to be a mom.
And the thing too is, I will say this, because of the growth, and we saw her, I never was worried for her.
Right.
When she,
you know that she was going to be resourceful.
I was actually like, this guy's going to get it, huh?
Absolutely.
At that point, we believed in her as like whatever.
Absolutely.
That she was this strong, independent woman at that point, and we were like, good luck, bro.
Right. I agree 100%.
Right?
But she's not in jeopardy in your mind.
She was never in jeopardy. But in the beginning of the movie, I felt like she was in jeopardy.
Yeah, like the Terminator or something. Naked at the beginning, like a killer.
Like an AI. She was like an AI.
When he gets to Paris,
what if he said it was all about AI?
That's so funny.
Yeah.
We'd be like, what?
You're like, yeah, she was just learning the whole time.
Yeah,
right.
The learning. Yeah, but again, I thought the better ending would have been like William Dafoe's brain was in
the coronal.
Yeah, I didn't expect the husband to come back. I thought it could have ended actually like 10 minutes earlier. I thought it was fine that way.
No, I think we needed her to know.
I thought it was cool.
No, I thought it was important for her to learn that she had a life and why she made it. Because it's like, imagine you realize that you are in your mother's body.
Yeah.
Insane.
Okay. And then this person that you considered a father figure has been lying to you your whole life.
Right.
You need to know she needed to see this terrible husband to forgive him.
Mm. Yeah. I loved it. It surprised me. I was like, oh yeah.
That was her dad too.
I thought,
husband and dad.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
Right.
This is the moment that I realized that.
Right.
Like, you're making me realize that at this point right now that was also her dad. So, oh God, crazy, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying though is she needed to see that.
She's her own daughter too. It's like,
to understand,
right.
To understand, like, that this guy should have been dead, and that's why she even said, "I forgive you."
Yeah.
It's like, and it's like she also probably understood at that point too. It's like, I'm not as savvy as I am now.
Right.
I wouldn't have even understood before.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have even understood.
Yeah, it's a Frankenstein story, but with a twist.
Yes,
which is
a sexual
because
twist.
Frankenstein was written by a woman, a teenager.
Mary Shelley, yeah.
Yeah, and her father actually, her name was Godwin, which is the character's, William Dafoe's name in the movie.
That's right.
So they have all those Frankenstein connection. I mean, yeah. I think it's definitely worth watching. It's one of those movies that
for sure.
You have to
inspire
watch
discussion. Yeah. It's beautiful, amazing acting.
All being
right?
said, it's like, and I think that it's a movie that you should watch with people and have a discussion like this.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about to you? Why did you enjoy it? Like, what do you feel about? I think that it inspired a discussion for us to talk about consent and sexuality and and what does it mean actually also to be a man and like how should you maneuver through, like what kind of man do you want to be in this movie and because it's because none of they all needed work, you know what I mean, like they all needed work, because even in the end the guy she chose, she still was trying to fix him. Right. So remember it inspires all those type of discussions.
Which I didn't even expect. So I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys.
Thank you for watching.
Stranger Things.
Yeah. Poor things.
Poor thing.
Yeah, I called
It could have been called that.
They're
called
definitely
it Poor Babies the other day.
Poor Babies?
Are we seeing Poor Babies
When
later?
you texted me, right? You were texting me, or were you?
No, I was texting.
You was texting me, and I said that movie, and he was like, "Oh wow," it's like one of those like
So I didn't see it, and I was like, okay, I'll go.
This is a good one
excited
to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is great.
Good stuff,
Thanks
guys.
for coming, Eric.
Yeah, no problem.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Eric.